Okay, Brain Supreme Podcast. Welcome, everybody. I'm here with my guys from Way of Life, Jared and Drake, and they're kind of like Drake's become. Sorry, Dodge is my. Did I say the names wrong?
You said you named me Jared.
Oh my God, we were talking about Jared Picard because we have our thing. Sorry, Dodge Feeler and Drayke Jacobs.
Yep.
Way of Life. Okay. We can restart, but we're actually starting. Sorry. We were talking about Jared Picard because I noticed that they both have these pendants out, and then I have my pendant out, which I got from Jared Picard. It's the biogeometry. It's supposed to regulate everything. And then I also started wearing lapis lazuli.
I call it lapis lazuli. It could be totally wrong, but it's supposed to be a heart opening crystal, which I'm quite fond of myself.
Yeah. It's also when you hear something and you're like, oh shit, that sticks. So supposedly Yeshua, Jesus, told all his disciples to keep this lapis lazuli on their body at all times because it defends against demonic frequency and energy. They can't approach you. They get bounced off.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck it, in this day and age.
You might as well know.
I ordered for the whole family.
I normally have some things on, but
every piece of defense you can get.
What's that? What is the one you're wearing?
I'm going to let Drake talk a little more, which we're both kind of like trying to understand it fully, but it's supposed to be quantum technology. It's Lila tech. But we both have the necklaces, and then we both have an infinity block, which we'll put our water. I put my hydrogen water in it and my feet in it. And, Drake studied a little more, but when I looked at it, I was like, I've been looking for something like this to help with, it's supposed to help with EMF.
Yeah.
And it's pretty, I mean, they actually have done some studies on it, which is helpful.
Oh yeah, no, it's legit. My guy, another guy from my men's group, Luke Story, he's like,
heard of him?
Yeah, he's like a PhD in EMF. So what do you guys use to like, so there's just your own intuition, and then there's the way somebody comes across their presentation skills, but will you do like a little muscle testing? Some like when this tech comes out, do you do a kinesthetic muscle testing before and after you put it on? Okay, but so you do that. You do.
I would not say I do it every time.
Right.
But I have done it and pretty consistently is on.
Drake, do you have like a street technique where you're like full of shit, not full of shit? You know?
I don't. I'm very intuitive. Like I'll get the feeling whether or not it works.
Yeah.
Like these pendants, I feel like they work, but I can't. But I'm also like, I don't know if this one's working.
Yeah.
It looks cool though.
But the block,
They do look cool.
100% works.
Yeah, the block is different.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing, I do reverse osmosis water, and if you've ever had that, it tastes dead, like just because there's nothing in it.
Right.
I put it in the block for like 2 minutes, and it tastes different.
Oh, wow.
Like there's no electricity going through it. It's just, it sits there, and it changes the taste.
Wow.
My girlfriend actually doesn't like it when I do that, because for her, it makes the water taste metallic.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm thinking it's trying to give her things that she needs because she's been borderline anemic.
Oh, so copper, iron, all that. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I don't taste any metallic taste to my water at all.
Wow.
But every single time she's like, there's a metallic taste to my water. She drinks from there. And she notices, like, I won't even tell her I do it.
Have you guys looked at the work of Veda Austin or listened to a podcast with her on it? She's from Australia. She's the real water expert. And she's basically, I'm screwing this up. She's on a couple podcasts with another buddy of mine, Alex Zek, really good podcast show and host and great guests. But the 2 episodes of Veda Austin about water, it's basically water is God. Like water has consciousness, has memory, takes imprints, emotional imprints, has emotional fluidity for upliftment and everything. Like, so what you're saying, like this conscious technology, knowing what your wife needs in a conscientious home, what your girlfriend needs would make perfect sense. It's really interesting.
Well, it's so important. You know, there's a reason why Luke Story has spent so much of his, I mean, when I listen to his podcast, there's always so much of his adult life working on the water, you know, and I think it's Yokomoto, the studies.
That was done like 30 years ago.
Yeah, and it's amazing.
The black light water photography that kind of started it all. That's amazing.
Honestly, that was part of like when I realized like I am the temple, you know, whenever I'm listening to, whenever I'm taking in, it just becomes so important. So water is definitely a big part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, even with these pendants, with these, you know, the things we're wearing, it's like the frequency and energy and thought energy that you carry around this, becomes powerful, you know. You can't, the placebo effect becomes real because of your own frequency and energy around it.
For sure. Yeah. So, and it's just like, you know, I can be without these. I don't need anything outside of myself. but why not use the tools that are available to live the best we can live?
Yeah, I had a guy on recently named Edmund Knighton, who's one of the foremost teachers of Steiner and Ra, the Law of One, and his energy is just so high. So he's like, no, he doesn't use. He's like, just love. I just think about love all the time. Love will do it. And I'm like, fuck, I'm angry and pissed off a lot, so I need a pendant.
Yeah.
So I think it's like a pretty honest assessment, like where you're at. You know.
Yeah.
Like, if you still got like a little chip on your shoulder, like put a pendant on.
Yeah.
If you're vibrating at a love frequency, you're fine.
Mm-hmm. It's the highest frequency.
Constant work though, right? You know, you got the anger and a little bit of chip on the shoulder, but
Salud. Was that you? You held a sneeze in?
No, I was coughing.
Oh, all right. So boys, let's get into it. Tell me about way of life. So just as a little setup, so like Dodge, Jesus, so many names bounced around. Dodge has been a friend of mine for about a year now, and he is one of our family practitioners for supplements. He's actually our family practitioner for peptides and supplements and like acute kind of things that cross the line between like acute sickness, injury, and also life optimization. We go to a chiropractor, an acupuncturist there in San Antonio. So for telemedicine and like our training schedules, peptides, hormones, injury, Dodge is our family practitioner and the clinic and everything. So tell me about way of life, and then we'll kind of we're going to go deep into peptide sciences and life optimization and so forth.
So way of life, we've created sort of a practice, all telemedicine at this point, although we're starting to kind of dive into some mobile options. We've been working out of my home that's on the river, where we're actually going to start offering some different procedures there.
Oh, wow, cool.
But, we're
San Antonio.
Well, it's actually in Martindale. It's outside of San Marcos.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So it's kind of a good central location, and by doing that, we can actually keep some of the stuff we want to do. It's a little more price savvy than what's available in Austin and San Antonio. Yeah. Less overhead.
Yeah. Just as to establish a fact from the very beginning, like I find with Dodge, at a much more family-friendly, reasonable rate, you're going to get the level of expertise, blood analysis that you're going to get from one of these, functional MDs, practitioners that are anywhere from like, a couple $1,000 a month to $250,000 a year.
I have to say that there's a lab that we saw the other day, as in depth as what we usually do, which for our members, if they don't have insurance, it's a $225, and it's a very in depth. They were charged $1,000 for it. Working with a functional med.
Like some of the Westlake functional MDs and life optimizer MDs like that. I've heard of one guy who's $250,000 a year. I'm not gonna mention names, but
well, look, if anyone wants to pay us $250 a year, we'll take it.
We would put a lot more time and effort into. That would be
all right. So let's go back into way of life and what you're going for.
Yeah. So we want to look at things differently. We like to focus on circadian rhythm, all the natural things that we can go to, and then a lot of repurposed drugs, hormone optimization, and then we do use a lot of peptides because we feel that is a natural way to kind of bring back to homeostasis. I kind of ran most of the clinical stuff by myself, but then I've been so fortunate to be friends with Drayke for a couple of years now, and he became available, and I snagged him, and he's kind of helping me advance that. So now we're creating these progressive protocols. And we're kind of making it where we can manage different peptide protocols throughout the year so that we can just sort of hit all avenues, whether it's healing and inflammation, or we're going to focus on regenerative brain and cognition, or even doing more advanced things now where we're getting rid of senescent cells and then kind of focusing on reactivating stem cells to bring that back.
Oh, wow. Drayke, what's your training and kind of area of expertise?
I am all self-studied. I fell in love with this stuff years ago. Mm-hmm. And I just started reading everything I could about it. And I've never been one to just learn and not do anything with it. I've always been an experimenter. So I just started doing things, seeing what actually worked, utilizing it with friends, family. And then I started doing my own health coaching, utilizing it with clients and seeing great results with that. And so I was just able to learn so much that at some point people started referring to me to like, hey, what about this peptide? What about this protocol? Because I've tried all the things. I've tried dozens of diets, all the peptides. I've made myself into a human pincushion. Mm-hmm. I couldn't even count how many different supplements of different brands just to try which ones work a little bit better than others.
Right.
And through self-study, experimentation, I've learned everything on my own. And I stay on top of it.
Yeah.
There's so many amazing learning resources out there. And now I just try and stay on the forefront. Like, I'm learning things I don't hear anyone else talking about.
Yeah.
And if I do, it's probably like 2 years after I've already learned about it.
Yeah. That's actually the wonderful thing about the supplement and peptide space, as opposed to traditional allopathic medicine, is that the MDs sometimes come to guys like you to learn what's going on as well. So, what are you guys, what's kind of hot on your radar right now? Like, what are you guys doing personally? And then we'll kind of go more into some of the professional stuff. Like, Drayke, what are you finding? Like, what's your you're fit, so what's your training routine? What's your, what are you doing peptides, hormone wise? What are you doing supplement wise? Like, just kind of break us down what your personal routine is currently and what you're finding really effective after all your years of self-experimentation.
So I was a personal trainer for a few years ago. And right now I work out about 3 days a week on average. And I get the best results from that. Just go super intense for those 3 days. And then the recovery is way more important.
Are you every other day or 1 day on, 2 days off? Or it's just you
Monday,
gauge
Wednesday,
your body?
Friday.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Well, no, I switched it up recently, but it's like Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's about what I do now. And I just do full body the whole time, and I've made tremendous progress with that.
Yeah. I love that style of training, by the way, too. Like, I was going to a high-end gym that my kids were going to, and then I stopped and I just like went all in on dumbbells and a big mat at home and I call it velocity training. I'll do groups of 3 exercises, 2 to maybe 3 sets, and I move between with pace and a lot of core and integrative movements and so forth. Always, no linear pattern, no real just single linear patterns like combination, squat with a deltoid raise, squat press, the push-up plank down dog, all kinds of, I love that type of training. I think it's really effective.
Yeah, I mean, I've found this to be way more effective. I would say in the past 3 years, I've put on 20 pounds of muscle.
Mm.
And
How old are you now?
35 in like a week.
Okay, cool.
But
you're looking good.
I've known guys that they'll be doing body part splits for like 5 years and they don't make the same progress I've made.
Yeah.
And I put on a lot of that before I even touched peptides. Now, peptides help me break over my plateaus, like every time. Like, I used to be 150. Right now I'm about 185. And it took me forever to hit over 160. And that was dedicated, like staying on top of my macros, doing all the things. Cause like, that's where I started with was nutrition and fitness. And that took a bit to get over the 160 plateau. And then I got to like 168 and I couldn't break it, even with like really dedicating my macros and all that. Then I started utilizing peptides, CJC, ipamorelin, simplest ones. They helped me break that 170 plateau. And then getting over 180, peptides again, that hopped on tesamorelin, added some other ones.
So no TRT or anything for you, or?
I started TRT it's probably 6 months ago now, but that honestly hasn't done a whole lot for my composition.
Okay. So so just real quick for people out there, just define a peptide. 2 sentences, just so everybody knows we have an equal ground.
3 to 51 amino acids bound together.
Okay. So you can't reduce down from an amino acid. An amino acid is its final compound.
That's the final. Yeah.
Okay. So
molecule.
Their peptides are combinations of amino acids.
Yes.
Okay, great.
And then after you go then it becomes bigger and bigger towards actual protein.
Okay.
But peptide is such a broad marketing term now. Yeah. Insulin's a peptide, HCG is a peptide.
The GLPs are peptides.
Yeah, GLPs are peptides. Yeah. So it's becoming a very broad term where you're like, we want on peptides. Well, what are your goals? What are you needing?
Right.
You have to really dive into that. And then it comes down to dosage and a lot of this stuff is kind of on the, forefront. So a lot of people they've figured it out over time. And bodybuilding is sort of what brought a lot of this to the front there.
So do you guys have with TRT, the testosterone replacement therapy, and with, I guess, some form of like responsible, complementary, almost compensatory steroid use, TR testosterone use, Do you guys do it by blood analysis, or do you do it by whatever, or do you do, or is there an age? Like, for instance, if somebody comes into you and they're 35 and they're just out of shape and they don't have healthy habits, but their testosterone is like 200 or 300, are you going to put them on testosterone, or are you going to say, let's adopt the healthiest habits you possibly can because of your age? You should probably still be at 700 or 800, whatever that number is, and then you kind of read it from there. So, like, how do you go about the testosterone assessment?
It depends. It depends, like, what is their career? If I got a firefighter and they're
that's
even in their
point.
20s, I kind of prefer not to start them on them, but I'll say, are you planning on doing this long term? Is this a career that you want to take? And if that's a yes, then I may start them with, we may try some lifestyle things. We may try like enclomiphene, which I'm a fan of to an extent. And then, I mean,
what's in clomiphene?
So it's actually like a drug that's been used for fertility. Although originally it's Clomid, which Clomid has 2 isomers in it. It has one that binds to the estrogen receptor and one that is actually like an estrogen. But
by the way, I really like your answer about like, what do you like? How game on you need to be? Because my former trainer was a Navy SEAL, and the stress and lifestyle, those guys, like, even though they seem the most diesel jacked up dudes, like, they can be like 28, 29-year-old guys with 200 testosterone. I mean, they're just so depleted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, mine was 150 when I checked it. I'd been working nights as a hospitalist. So the stress was high. I was, having some marital issues at the time. And so, everyone's completely different.
Yeah, that's a very wise answer. I'm impressed with that. Because there are a lot of variables. If you have a high pressure lifestyle and you got to save somebody's life, like, get the fucking testosterone back up to 900, so you can carry somebody out of a fire and be motivated and clear thinking, and then also the emotional recovery, because hormones do help with emotions and so forth, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I have a ton to do with, creating dopamine. And a lot of times that's what guys start noticing, like, oh, suddenly I have motivation to take care of my kids. The concern is always, oh, we're going to become angry and moody, where it's like a lot of the studies show the opposite. Like, they're more likely
and that's
to
also
tell
like,
the
that's
truth.
old steroid roid rage.
Yeah.
It's like TRT, like Dodge advises me, I do 0.2. What does that even mean? They get
you do 40 milligrams a few times a week.
I basically go little. Like every other day, or maybe 3 doses a week to the 0.2, which last time we did my blood work, I was right at about 900, which for 55 is great.
Which we are due for lab work.
Yes. We'll do it.
We do daily injections, and I do.
That's right.
I do 0.1, so I do 100. It's like 140 to 150 milligrams a week, which is that's a very relatively like low normal dose.
Right.
Because the older you get, the realize you like less is more. What are you chasing exactly?
Yes.
Like, I'm all for, like, I still have some vanity in me. I still want to be muscular. I still want to look good. But, I don't need it to be 240 anymore like I was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, very true.
I would also say that TRT, I know it gets the flack of being like a lifelong thing, but if someone were to come to us and they tell us like they've tried to get off the weight, like they've tried all these issues, their TRT is like in the tank, it's like 200-300, they're mid-30s, there's a possibility like we could start them on TRT and then take them off of it when they get healthier. Like if they drop 100 pounds while on TRT, they develop some healthier lifestyles, because honestly, TRT helps with motivation. It helps with energy levels. So if we can get them in a great spot, they can come off TRT. Like there's protocols. Cool. We'll put you on some HCG, some enclomiphene, and you can come off of TRT and just not have to do it anymore. And your natural levels should be much higher than they were beforehand.
I've even found it that I started TRT when I was like 52. I've even found for myself, like, I can go off it for a couple of weeks and not really notice anything because of the sauna, the cold plunge, the other supplements, keeping up with the decent exercise, like, just not to be too graphic, but like testicular shrinkage. Like, I haven't noticed any of that stuff because it's part of an overall healthy platform profile. I also think, not to like make this overtly marketing, but I also find that like psilocybin is an awesome canary in a coal mine in terms of like indicating where you're having, like I had one person recently with Brain Supreme who wrote me to thank me. They're like, the product didn't work for me because it triggered some form of shaking. But when he did the analysis, he has a disorder with his nervous system. He's like, I knew something might be going on, but once I started taking Brain Supreme, it went, woo, it put a bullseye right on what I needed to work on and with my medical staff and so forth. So it can really do that. So I've found that like there's a synergistic quality with the microdosing with all the other supplements and the TRT. So when I take prolonged breaks on TRT, a couple of weeks off or something, like I don't notice it. I'm just as horny and just as focused and everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, we're both pretty big fans of.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying, yeah. So it's like, I find like, as long as you don't go overboard, if you're doing like the kind of microdose, sensible lifestyle approach with the TRT, like some of these misnomers of, testicular shrinkage, you're going to need it for life, you're going to fall apart if you're not on it. If maybe all you're doing is TRT, like I know one guy who all he does is TRT. He looks great, but like he's just jacked on peptides and TRT. He doesn't exercise. He drinks too much alcohol. It's like he's a lunatic.
Well, that's what we do.
If he comes off TRT, he's gonna fall apart probably.
Yeah. It is a patch for sure, but in today's society where it's all stress and screens and the water, chasing the water and everything, we kind of have to have some patches at times while we figure out the root cause of the issue.
Well, I think that was kind of the summation of our first podcast together was like, look, if we lived as we were, 10,000 years ago, where, manna from heaven and water and air and everything, like but we were being assaulted in unnatural ways. Mm-hmm. So to supplement in ways that might be supernatural, or you could even say unnatural in some ways, because one could say that pricking the epidermis, like anytime you break through, God's protective barrier, it's something, for me, there's always like a ethical, spiritual thing that I literally have to say a little blessing as I,
attention is everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Because for me, it's still like pinpricking myself too much. It still is a bit of if I'm being completely honest, still a bit of a spiritual conundrum. But like, I'm like, what world am I living in? Okay. What's the air I'm breathing? What do we have? How many days of chemtrail do we have this week? Oh, 3 in a row. Like, did that exist 150 years ago? No, you're right.
It's not the lifetime we're living in right
exactly.
now. It's that time frame that we're at that we have to kind of go to look to other ways, because I mean, for me, ultimately, it's always living well. And I do the same thing you do with intention. Like there's one that we've been working with going back to like the senolytic protocol called FOXO4, and it helps with getting rid of senescent cells, which are zombie cells. So it's going to kill us off. So what I'm doing, I'm thinking like, I'm going to be letting go of the things that don't serve me anymore. And what am I doing after that? I'm going to be doing things to wake up the new cells to kind of bring in what I'm ready for now.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very true. Give our audience a little nugget, Drayke. So from all your years of experimentation, like if they just have to rely on like 2 or 3 supplement brands, like who do you always trust? Who's a go-to? Who's reliable in this day and age that you find?
Brands? There's a few I really love. I would say the best, cheapest one is going to be Now brands.
Oh, you like Now?
I do.
Good.
A lot of the products
I'm always suspicious because I'm like, how can it be priced like that? But I know they've been at it since the 60s or something. So their relationships run deep.
Yeah, they're one of my favorite that are cheap. Them as well as NutriCost.
By the way, the Now essential oils are fantastic as well. They're really good.
Those, but yeah, a lot of their products are fantastic. I've never really found bad reviews. Now and then, I mean, Pure Encapsulations.
Yeah, super quality company.
They're like top tier quality. Them North Molecular, fantastic. They're just pricey.
Yeah. Designs for Health.
I use a few of those. I don't use all of their stuff because sometimes I just think they're overly priced for no reason. But yeah, there's a few high quality ones as well. It's like, but you also have to pick and choose which ones you're using. For like Now brands. If I know the supplement itself is relatively cheap, I'll go with them. Like creatine monohydrate, I get that for bulk supplements, but creatine monohydrate is a super cheap supplement. And they can't fill it with anything else. So it's $30 for a kilo of it.
Yeah. The bulk supplement companies seems to be pretty quality. Like I've ordered from them off and on for years, and like, it's good.
I use their creatine, their Alcar, their TMG.
What's the thing with creatine where it's got to be like this German,
the micronized?
Yeah. Is that true or?
I don't think so. I mean,
that's marketing.
I mean, there may be like little advantages to a lot of these things.
Yeah.
You get a little bit of an edge, but if it's going to increase the price 200%, 300%, I don't know that it's always worth it. But I mean, the micronized isn't too pricey either.
Is that like the like nano curcumin.
Yeah, similar thing.
Yeah. Have they ever done a test on like the effectiveness of like just a good high quality turmeric supplement or fermented turmeric and then the nano curcumin?
I haven't seen that, but I did see like a little study that showed like they actually extracted the curcumin out, and then they still, what was left with the turmeric, they used that, and it still helped a ton with inflammation and other markers. So that's when like sometimes I'll say, if you're going to use curcumin, I still suggest cooking with turmeric and using it in other ways, because obviously we think we know, but we have no idea. You know, it's perfectly designed to have way more advantages than just what we found.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also say there's a few brands out there that are very specific for their supplements. So like Now, Orthomolecular, Pure, Bulk, they're a great like wide variety of brands or supplements. But like there's a few brand names that we use that have very specific supplements that are like the best in the world, I think. Specifically like for curcumin, we're an affiliate for one that we use a lot, and they're called Mara Labs.
Oh yeah, Broccoli. Yeah. I order some of their stuff. They were on Luke Story's podcast.
We love broccoli.
Yeah,
broccoli's wild. I've not taken any other normal supplement that gives me that level of BDNF drive.
So broccoli, we should just explain. Broccoli is basically it's a GLP imitator. So what's the name of those
Ozempic.
Ozempic. Yeah, it's like basically it's an Ozempic like supplement in a bottle.
No, I think that's their GL Perfect. The broccoli, I think it's by itself is stabilized sulforaphane.
Oh yeah,
they have a GL Perfect, which
no, that's the one I take. GL Perfect.
Yeah, I haven't used that one yet. I've used a lot of the other products, but I'm just on a GLP-1, so I haven't used that one.
Oh, you are?
Oh yeah,
really? Mm-hmm. So are you doing? What's the name of the one? The pure form.
Tirzepatide.
Yeah, tirzepatide.
Yeah, I'm currently doing low dose tirzepatide 3 days a week.
Okay, so like just debunk that for me. Is it made from a not iguana, but the Gila monster? Is it made from an extract from a Gila monster?
GLP can be extracted from a Gila monster. That was one of the original ones. I'm going blank on the pharmaceutical name of it, but that was one of the original GLPs.
So that was, I mean, a lot of these medications stem from natural things, but that's not how it's made anymore.
Oh, okay.
With how much GLP-1s are being sold, we'd have killed the Gila monsters. Like they'd be extinct at this point.
I don't want that.
No, it's almost all synthetically created. There's peptide synthesizers out there that they literally just string the amino acids together and create it.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. And so you guys feel better about that?
Yeah, I mean, there's always the underbelly of anything you look into. You know, like there's a lot of the GLPs. I mean, they can cause detriment for sure.
Yeah. Well, and your peptides all come, because I've gotten them from you. They all come from a compounding pharmacy.
Yeah, we vet all of our pharmacies.
So explain the difference for the audience out there, like the difference between working with a compounding pharmacy and working with the classic pharmaceutical industry.
Well, the compounding pharmacy, for one, it's usually going to be, a much smaller business versus Walgreens or something.
Well, they're making it themselves, though, aren't they?
Yeah, they're compounding. They're ordering it.
There you go. That's the answer I was hoping for.
API or some other, drug manufacturer, and then they typically, and those are the ones we work with. They're also going to third-party test it, make sure it is what it is. Then they test their batches, make sure the sterility is appropriate.
And compounding pharmacies have like 10 times the scrutiny of the pharmaceutical industry.
I mean, they're constantly being attacked and everything too.
Did you see Bingham on Rogan
we did
2 or 3 years ago when he was talking about like how the traditional pharmaceutical industry will put their facilities in like the middle, most remote parts of India that like you have to like take some kind of rickshaw to get to for the final steps. Mm-hmm. And you have to give them 3 weeks notice and you can only stay like 3 hours. But a compounding pharmacy, they can literally storm in
anytime they want.
Yeah. And this and that.
I have friends that that's happened to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would also say the biggest difference is that a lot of the compounding pharmacies, because they're smaller, they care more.
They care.
Dude, I can text the owners in the middle, and whenever I need them, like, hey, I'm having an issue, and they're on it because they do care.
Yeah. I'll tell you as a business owner, like, you really give a shit. Like, I respond to every single email almost instantaneously, depending on what time they come through, or maybe sometimes they go to spam. But people are like, wow, you really get back to me. Like, dude, we give a shit. Like, this is the life's work. Like, this feeds the family. This is like, makes me, gives like meaning and value and to be of service and so forth. I mean, yeah, it's like you're making money, you're being prosperous, but it's totally twofold. Like,
What's also living your purpose, right?
Yeah.
You know, because what you're doing, you're helping with mental health, with all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's for us. We kind of are all encompassing. Like we care about like
yeah.
Once again, like the athlete. I have multiple friends who like are crazy about that. But,
cool.
But yeah, we do. We actually care. Like what we're trying to do is we're wanting to be of service to our neighbors.
Yeah. It's a great way to have a business, like to have like small, medium-sized business where it's like you can have everybody who works for you knows that, oh, that person gives a shit, you know, like no matter what they say about you, the formula worked, it didn't work, this, like, honestly, the guy gives a shit. It's like, it's an epitaph.
You're not going to talk to the pharmacist at HEB.
He gave a shit.
And he's going to be able to tell you like, oh, we made sure every ingredient in this is up to high quality. No, they're just going to be like, they sent it to us. We put it in a bottle for you. Here you go.
Yeah.
Whereas like we talked to the owner of one pharmacy and he was like, I researched the exact pH that this peptide needs to be in before we compound it. So that way you're getting the most efficacious dose and it's not going to be destroyed for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like no pharmacist out at like any big brand name is going to care at all or do any of that research.
Let's talk ethics a little bit with peptides. And this whole, you know, there's a definite transhumanist push right now. And I know, Drayke, we've just met, Dodge, we've been friends for a year. I mean, I know that you have spiritual practices and you know, you're a person of faith and so forth. So taking advice from you, I feel aligned philosophically, spiritually, but is there, you know, is there a certain point where it's like you have to walk the line? Like this is probably good. This is the kind of transhumanist, and like where do you see like peptides in that realm?
We actually, after we talked a little bit last night, we were like, a wig could kind of be considered, you know, a little bit of transhuman. It's
like wearing a wig?
Yeah, even I mean, you could go really deep down the rabbit hole, but with peptides, you know, it could definitely turn into something like that. But at the same time, all of the things that are being used, your body is naturally making them in some aspect. So I just view them as really good tools.
Yeah.
But I would also say definitely a massive humanism like movement going, you know, with AI and, you know, putting in like a chip in your brain and, you know, a card on your hand. Like it's coming.
Yeah.
You know, it's happening.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, I agree with you. It was like, to me, definition of transhuman is just becoming more than human, like what it means to be. And I mean, you're wearing glasses. Like 1,000 years ago, they didn't have glasses. Like if you had poor vision, you kind of just would have ended up dying.
I mean, I think that there's an aspect of adaptation, and there's always an evolution of technology. But I think what it really comes down to is, are you using technologies to bring you closer to your like original divinity, so you can experience and process more love, more kindness, more generosity, more connection to your fellow human beings, to being of service? Or are you kind of secretly using this in a way, almost fooling yourself, to create separation, to create distinction, to become a kind of supreme entity? Like, are you doing this in service to God, or are you doing this to be a replacement to God? And I think I think we can really look at the transhuman. I think we can really look at like I don't even like to use the word biohacking because it's kind of vulgar to me, like life optimization and wellness.
Yeah.
Fine, great terms. But just like the whole idea of like to hack into and everything, it has such hubris to it, you know, such kind of like a mundane human kind of hubris. But I think even within the biohacking community, and I don't want to slander or name names, but like there's people who just freak me out. Like, I don't want anything to do with them, you know, like the way they're starting to look. You know, there's one guy who I notice when he speaks, like he tries to reduce his facial expressions so maybe he went to Harvard, maybe he's really well known. I don't know. But like his face freaks me out because like he's not like living and expressing like a human being. Like he's trying to, you know, mask that quality. So for me, it's like it taps into my intuition, whether I think somebody's like kind of on on a godly path that I'm kind of aligned with, or they're in this kind of replacement of God path, which can really go into deeper things of, I've been getting into Rudolf Steiner recently. I had the Steiner expert who came on, and he's talking about, and Steiner writes about like this kind of triangular warfare that we're in with the Christ consciousness, and then there's the Luciferian consciousness and frequencies and entities, and then I always screw the name up. It's like an Aramaic name, Amaran. It'll come back to me in a second, but they're both kind of demonic frequencies.
Sure.
And Steiner will even talk about them in terms of like different medicines and different technologies and things that you can kind of do. Like some have a kind of a demonic current that's meant to kind of push you away from God and from union.
Makes sense. Yeah, I mean, anything that's making us separate from being one is an issue. But for me, when I'm doing them, I am in a place of gratitude. I'm thankful I even have access to them, and I'm doing it for my family, for myself. And I also believe like we are co-creating, right? In a lot of ways, we are a part of God, expressing ourselves individually to remember that we are all one. So, I think it's another one of those intention things. Like we have all these tools, but where are you going with it? What are you hoping to achieve? Are you going to be? Do you think that you are, relatively special, or is it something that you're wanting to do to help better, humanity?
Yeah, I agree with Dodge. Intention is everything with it. I mean, you can use any tool to nefarious purposes, essentially, or you can do it to spread good and just be healthy.
Yeah, I would agree with that. For sure. I think it's kind of a simpler answer. I think it's like
it's usually simpler than we make it really complex.
Yeah.
Always.
Like just trust your intuition on this. Like, who you're getting it from, who's making it, how are they using it? Like, do you connect with them? Like,
we say no to a lot of pharmacies that contact us. Like, I want to talk to the owner. I want to know what they're doing with it. So we don't just quickly jump to whoever's coming because we want to make sure, are you just trying to make money, or do you actually care about what you're doing?
Yeah. So along those lines, walk me through your, like your standardized model that, so if somebody comes and they sign up, like what's the first 6 months look like for them in the program? How do you go about your onboarding and intake and prescriptive kind of remedies that you develop?
It's going to depend on what they're needing.
Yeah. No, I know, but
I mean, that's, we're kind of working to have it where we actually have, like, for those that want to stick with us, like a yearly plan where we have goals and things that we want to do. And I'm going to let Drake run with it a little bit too, but usually like they're going to see me somewhat regularly, but they also have Drake working with them, creating the protocols. But,
do you start with like blood analysis, medical history?
Definitely medical history.
Okay.
I mean, if someone's coming with a knee injury, if they have recent blood work, I want it, but they don't necessarily need it for that.
Okay.
It's if we're going to be doing TRT, or if there's a lot of other.
So if they're coming in for like to be on par with like an executive wellness program that's offered by like one of the high-end Westlake MDs or something.
We want blood work then for sure. Yeah, with blood work, discovery call often with Drake. We kind of get a plan in place. We look at the labs. We really analyze, like, are we missing anything? And that's where we'll consider, do we need micronutrient testing? Is there something deeper? Like, do we need to look into mold? We don't jump to all that stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of time you walk in the door and it's $7,000 to even get started. And then you get all this information. What do you do with it? Is it going to change the plan of care? A lot of time it's not. So we do, I would say, in depth, but minimal testing. And then we'll start a protocol that we believe is going to be helpful for them. And we kind of stay in close contact, which is why we do like to use like packages or membership so that they can be in, consistent conversation. And then we just progress it. And, that's where Drake's come in amazingly, because he's always got amazing ideas, and we work together, but he kind of creates the protocol, and then we kind of come up with a plan, and then we usually go about 2 to 3 months and we check in, and then we move on to the next step.
Mm-hmm. How often will you have somebody repeat the blood work? Like if they're healthy and progressing and doing great, like how often do you use the?
Usually about quarterly.
Quarterly. Okay.
There's some that want a lot less, like lower touch, or they just budget-wise they can't do it. I'm going to definitely require at least like 6 months to a year,
mm-hmm.
Just because I want to make sure whatever we're using isn't causing any harm, or is there something that they're doing that we need to see.
Mm-hmm. And then that will, so depending on person, that would potentially include hormones, peptides, supplements. Do you make training recommendations too? If they're if they don't have a program, or will you go through their training program with them?
Yeah, I've done that for a couple clients. I'll just develop their whole training protocol for them if they want it, or just if they're looking for something specific. Like when I was doing personal training, I was really specializing in corrective exercises. So I've got a few videos that I recommend to fix up lower back issues, knee pain, ankle issues. Like if they're looking to rehab something or just become overall healthier, just get more out of their workouts, I'll go through that with them as well.
We dig a lot into lifestyle too, and not just what are you eating. We do that too, but it's, what they're doing to be regulated. Are there other things going on? Because if they can be taking all the peptides they want, but if they're not managing other things in their life, then they may not really notice the benefits of it.
How specific is sleep to somebody's constitution?
It's everything. It's
like are there some people who really can operate fine on 4 or 5 hours or 6 hours sleep? But I mean, because I know the 7, 8, 9 is really optimal, right? For the most part.
Yes, and I want to see more data on they operate fine, because there's so many aspects to sleep. And now we can actually hack sleep with some peptides. Like there's one called DSIP where you actually just get more deep sleep if it works for you with less hours of sleep.
I should probably, is that a good one for people who like myself who have sleep interruption? Because for instance, I fall asleep fine. I'll wake up to take a piss 3 hours into my sleep, and then I'll fall back asleep for another hour. Somewhere between 1:30 and 3:30, I almost always wake up, and I'm up. And I usually just pop up and I do my prayer and my meditation, then I fall back asleep again. So I've learned how to use that in kind of a constructive way. But is this a good peptide for?
I'd have other recommendations.
The deeper sleep that you're getting though during that time is effective. Because I've used DSIP where I only got 4 or 5 hours a night, and I feel like I had more sufficient sleep. I've also seen where, it used to actually be a thing where people normally sleep for, 4 to 6 hours before they would wake up around that time. And that would be the time that they're actually going into prayer, into meditation, or if they're, trying to create a baby, it would be that time frame. So before industrialization, it wasn't abnormal to wake up in the middle of the night. And that's this time of year, a lot of times that will happen to me. And that's when suddenly I'm finding the need to write down my, what I want to call in for the coming year. And I'll look over it. And I do think that it's divinely inspired sometimes when you wake up at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. But any long-term detriment to peptides? I mean, I know it's such a new emerging field, but are they finding anything? I mean, I know that you got to be careful with the GLPs because that's been documented. But so, with TB500 and BPC157, the really commonly used ones, is there any long-term detriment?
Long-term detriment for the healing peptides, I've not seen anything really. BPC, it can lead to mild anhedonia in long-term use.
What's anhedonia?
Just unmotivated, dopamine, it's not working as well.
Okay.
So it's almost like apathy. However, even that, it's rare. That's a rare side effect, and it's typically only if you're taking it long-term. So it's not super common that someone would ever really even experience that. My biggest reasoning for not having anyone on any of the healing peptides long-term is because they are so powerful, they will act as a Band-Aid. And so if they're just covering up an issue without actually healing the problem, you won't notice that problem until you come off of it. And by then the problem could be significantly worse than it would have been if you would notice it when it first started appearing. So I don't like to run the healing peptides yearly. I like to be we'll run it for a specific protocol, run it for maybe 3-6 months, come off of it. Let's reassess how you're feeling.
Do you need to is it better to do the healing peptide in the area of injury, or can you do it? So for instance, my son had a repetitive soccer player injury, and he's got 6% body fat. So the muscles in the abductor region are so tight. So injecting into that area could be really painful. But so how location specific do you need to be with the healing peptides, or do you just get in your system and it's good?
Systemically, it's going to work fine for BPC. You will probably notice a little bit more of an effect if you do it into that location. TB500 does absolutely work better at the site of location injection, but you can still get benefits from systemic use if you're just doing abdominal or in a fatty area. So, I mean, you'll get more efficacy out of doing it locally, but you'll still get benefit doing it systemically.
Is there any, like when you're injecting into really dense muscle areas, sometimes that was like that. So for instance, I have a little bit of arthritis. So my son was complaining when we were hitting the abductor kind of abdominal region, because it was so dense that sometimes it would create a burning sensation or be uncomfortable. So I'm like, all right, let me experience this. So I have a little arthritis in this thumb. So you did a blend for me, because this is one of the great things. So I'm like, Dodge, this is what's going on. And he's like, okay, BP 157, TB 500, and GHK came in one little condensed vial. Like that level of service was fantastic. Because you also, with kids, you want to minimize shots. You don't want to, even though it's a micro needle, it's like,
It adds
still
up.
a pain in the ass. So I put it right here into the dense muscle of this area, and dude, it felt like a bee sting for a couple days, like itchy. And
It's probably it's the GHKCU that can kind of continue to sting.
yeah. So if you have a injury in a denser muscle area, just try to go as close to it, but not directly into it, or was that actually good? That kind of bee sting, like itchy feeling for a couple days.
That was just the GHK. That wasn't the BPC or TB 500.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's like good or bad. It just sort of, it just does sting. But,
Okay.
if it's too painful, then I would just say, get as close as you can.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You're still going to get, results
So
from it.
shoulder or something, or okay, if you
Yeah,
have
I was
in the
injecting
hand.
all that into the back and sides of my knee as I was recovering from my ACL injury back in July.
Oh, really?
So,
well,
Yeah, one of the biggest reasons, especially if it's up here, you don't get as much blood flow like compared to like in bigger muscles. So it's not going to pull the GHK out. So like if you're doing it like subcutaneous right in the midsection, there's plenty of blood flow in your midsection. If you're doing it right here, it's going to stay there longer. So you're going to feel that pain for a much longer period of time.
so when you say subcutaneous, like literally pinch up a little bit of skin and go right in there?
Yeah, and like around midsection, it probably won't work as well.
Yeah, and here you're going to
Yeah, no, I was just kind of using this as an example. So kind of pinch up the skin a little bit and go in? Okay. What's this thing about going in at an angle? I've never my wife was reading something on AI about going in because she got so angry at me that it caused pain in my son. She's like, you're supposed to go in at an angle. I'm like, what? It's a 1/4-inch needle. I mean, it's not a 1/4 inch, but it's 1/2 inch needle.
that is a way you can go in sub-Q. Like if you're getting tested for tuberculosis, they're going to use like a little tuberculin needle. And so they're trying to make like a bubble. So that's probably where she's reading that from. But,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, for your son, it sounds like he probably has no fat there at all. So there's no way to make that truly a sub-Q shot.
Okay. Yeah, we just started going back in the kind of hip buttocks region and everything.
That's fine.
It ended up being fine as well. But any thoughts or warnings about peptides in kids, sports injury, recovering from sports injury? Is there a certain age where, you should or shouldn't, or it's okay? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's less is more. Like if it's really necessary, that I think you can safely do that. Just, lots of caution, being careful, and just remembering kids, they heal so quickly as it is. But if it's a severe enough of injury, I think I've written case studies or even like helped a few people myself where I think it is worth it to kind of get them back into the playground as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
But definitely caution and being smart about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very delicate balance when we're working with anyone under 18. It's because again, while a lot of this stuff has been around for a while, like the actual research into it for just normal adults is scarce, let alone for children. Like it's almost non-existent. So before the injections, like very, very rarely are we ever going to recommend any kind of the injections for even teenagers. Are they most likely safe? Probably, but we don't know that because there's no research there. One thing we can recommend that we do think would be a little bit safer for kids is you can nebulize the peptides.
Oh, okay.
So instead of injecting a kid with it, you just breathe it in. So there's going to be a lot more defense to if there's a negative reaction. I mean, they're breathing in smoke all the time and smog. If they live in a city, the peptides might not be pleasant because you're reconstituting it with bacteriostatic water, which has some alcohol in it. So it might sting a little bit, but it's overall, there are not going to be any negative side effects to that. So if anyone wants to utilize it on their kids, don't use any of the GLP-1s. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I would stay away from any of the growth hormone ones for kids. Although I've seen some interesting articles and stories recently about the biohacking parents letting their kids take the growth hormone secretagogues to try and grow an inch or two, which there's no research on that, but
sermorelin is originally from a lot of that when they first started using it. So
yeah, like the original purpose of sermorelin was literally a growth hormone analog, so they could help kids that had like growth deficiencies grow taller. So I mean,
they prescribe growth hormone for those kids now. So using something that's going to be natural, I think that's probably a better option than using actual growth hormone.
What's the name of that one?
Sermorelin.
Sermorelin.
It's first generation GH secretagogue.
Okay. What's emerging in the peptide field that has you guys kind of interested and excited?
I don't know where to start.
Sean Wells was telling me a peptide that they're finding is even like reversing autism. I forgot the name of it.
Yeah, I don't want to go too much into that because that's a touchy subject, but I'm working with a person right now on that exact thing. There's some cool things out there.
Yeah.
SS31 is pretty spectacular in the results it's having for
SS31. Okay, break that down for me. What is that? What's it specific for?
That is a mitochondrial repair peptide.
Oh, wow.
So it goes in there, and in the mitochondria, there's a protein called cardiolipin that can become...
Just for our audience, just break down mitochondria.
If you went and had high school biology, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
Powerhouse of the cell.
But it's actually way more than that. Like there's every single thing we do uses our mitochondria. Before I even speak, my mitochondria already knew I was going to speak. It's a communicator as well. And so mitochondria, what they've seen happen for people that have autism, they have some mitochondrial damage. Like there's a stress related to it. Like, and anyone's had autism, like knows, like kids with autism, like they can have acute stress responses to things. Like it can cause them to like freak out really badly.
Yeah.
And so like all that stress is damaging the mitochondria. And they'll get that from a young age. And unfortunately, I've known a lot of kids that they'll get that diagnosis of autism at a young age, and they're given handfuls of prescription pills that just treating symptoms. SS31, it goes in there and actually repairs mitochondria. So it helps to reduce symptoms that people with autism might have. Because it's just going in there, fixing up a lot of the damage that's been done. And it's pretty powerful.
Wow.
What's cool about SS31 is we have another one called MOTS-C that actually optimizes the mitochondria. MOTS-C, M-O-T-S. But SS31 actually works on the scaffolding of the mitochondria. And it was actually just approved to be used for a rare mitochondrial disease.
Oh, wow. And currently peptides are unregulated by the FDA? So they're not, or...
I mean, it depends on which peptide. You know, I mean, insulin's heavily regulated by the FDA, you know. But
you don't need, you can still, I mean, because I get hit up from Peptide Sciences all the time to order peptides. I only go through you, but
that's research purposes only, though.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it says it on the bottle for research purposes.
Oh, okay.
Only.
So that's a loophole they're using. Okay, so technically, you have to be a nurse practitioner or an MD to write prescriptions for peptides, or
if you're going to use it through a pharmacy, yes.
Okay.
I mean, there are relatively fair sources on the internet, but I mean, if you search it, there's often like hundreds of websites, and it's just hard to know like where are they getting it from? Is it what it says it is? I mean, full transparency, Peptide Sciences was actually the first one I used when I tore my bicep, and it was amazing. But I will say, like later on, I started like, is this doing anything? And then I've seen some analysis where it's not always as strong as it says it is, as high purity.
Yeah, trusting sources, especially as they grow. I mean, and it's going to be with like that with a lot of those online businesses. They're just trying to make bigger profits, and they kind of sacrifice their quality. And there's a few.
I don't especially trust the FDA. I mean,
no, absolutely
so
not.
It's like I have very mixed feelings about the whole thing. I know like there can be a grift happening on the, in the independent, online business side, and there's probably a number of grifts going on at very high levels on the FDA side as well. So.
Sure. Well, I mean, on the other side of it, there's going to be pushes to not bring in things that are actually going to cause healing, because we want, most of the time you want things that you have to keep taking for indefinite, forever. So,
and this goes back to our original premise, like small and medium-sized business owners who give a shit, who's like, like one bad review really affects your business.
For sure.
Like one bad review for Pfizer,
they don't care.
Join the line. We just turned we turned our comment section off, We can't turn our comment section off. People are like, there's no comments, there's no reviews.
Of course, they also run the show.
Yeah.
That's a big difference there.
So, well, this is one of the great things about the service you guys offer is because you, if anything, you just, in addition to expertise, it's the vetting process. It's a very big deal in this space.
Yeah, and every time we've had people approach us like, oh, we're approved by the FDA, we have all these things, like, that honestly means nothing to us. Just because you have these like government credentials, I find it worthless. Like that means nothing. It's like, how good is your product? Are you someone of integrity that we want to work with?
Right.
And that's our biggest thing is like, I don't care about these random government credentials.
No, I mean, literally, for me, you vote 15-0 to put the COVID vaccine on the child vaccination schedule. It's like, I mean, really? we should just do the opposite of what you're saying, probably,
I'm guessing you saw they took at birth Hep B, they're taking it off.
I don't want to make this podcast about me, but I have a really funny story about that. So we did home births with midwives, but we still would go see an OB/GYN, and we didn't do any vaccinations for our children, none, especially thank God my kids are healthy and doing, you've met them, right?
Yeah. They're both studs.
Yeah. So
athletes.
Kids are doing great, thank God. And, but I go to see a doctor, and he's like, with my wife for the OB, and we had to do the Hep B test, and it was between our first and second child. And they're like, you're positive for Hep B. And we're like, the test is wrong. He's like, the tests are never wrong. And I said, it wouldn't be the second or third leading cause of death in the country if these tests are never wrong. I'm like, the test is wrong. He's like, well, we need you to take it again. I'm like, when we take the test again, I'm like, how much does the test cost? Like $1,500. I said, okay, when it comes back that it's wrong, will you reimburse us for the test? And he says, it's not our policy. I'm like, well, then I'm not taking the test. He's like, well, we really want you to take the test. I'm like, how do you get Hep B? He's like, intravenous drug use or multiple sexual partners. I'm like, okay, that just doesn't apply to my wife and I between the first and second child. So if the first child didn't have Hep B, like why would the second one right now? So we go back and forth, and I basically get him to admit that his practice will reimburse for the cost of the test. I say, okay, let's do the test. And he's like, the tests are never wrong. I'm like, the test is wrong. And sure enough, test comes back wrong. I had to threaten to take the fucking guy's small claims court, but he paid the bill.
I mean, you see blood tests wrong all the time.
All
I mean,
the time,
if I
man.
see something that's just way off, I'm like, okay, we need to retest this and make sure.
Yeah.
That's crazy though.
Yeah, the Hep B test for an infant and then the Hep B is that's just pure fucking dark energy, man.
Well, yeah,
There's no reason for that.
Blood transfusions were a big issue there before they realized what was going on. That's where it was getting passed a lot of the time.
Yeah. That's another thing. Well, this was a great conversation. Anything else you guys want to kind of dig into and touch upon?
Oh, we'll talk about hormones for just a second.
The black box warning just got taken off of estrogen for treating women, which I think is pretty huge. My mom, she had some things going on when she was younger, and it was never even an option for her to be treated with progesterone and estrogen because it's going to cause cancer, it's going to cause blood clotting, and then you look at the Women's Initiative. They were looking mostly at bastardized hormones, which is with birth control, and then Premarin, which is actually horse pee, and it has like 17 estrogens that 6 of those aren't even being used by the female body. So your body doesn't know what to do with that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the whole. And then you have it's such a crazy time we're living in because you have the whole observer effect. Like, did you guys see Dr. Aman on Tucker, the brain specialist who's done like 50,000 brain scans or something like that? And he was railing on cannabis. And at first, like when something really feels like opposed to me, like this is wrong, I'm like, okay, let me sit with this. Is this my ego? Is this my attachment? Is this because I used to be in the cannabis industry? Like, where is this coming from? And I'm listening to him, and he's basically like, this is the worst thing ever for a child's brain and this and that. And I'm like, I know so many millionaires who from 15 to 25 were wake and bake fucked up because of their childhood. And then suddenly at 25, they woke up. They're like, I'm not doing this anymore. And now they're multimillionaires with families and great people and this and that. Like, I don't know anybody who did that with alcohol who still doesn't struggle. You know, you abuse alcohol from 15 to 25, you're in AA for life. You know, you're a wake and baker from 15 to 25. It suddenly stops one day and, you know, you can go back and smoke a joint with your friends occasionally. So I'm listening to this, I'm getting more and more opposed. And I'm like, he's not talking about the childhood schedule. He's not talking about chemtrail. He's not talking about the, you know, glyphosate, pesticide, Roundup Ready. Like none of this shit. Like what is going on? And so then I had just coincidentally, I had this guy named Ryan Sprague on, who's a friend of mine, who's a cannabis coach and cannabis expert. And he's a classic guy. He's like wake and baker for all these years, like childhood trauma, all this shit. Like, then he's like, I'm going to learn to use this stuff, you know, with intention. Studies with Paul Chek, studies with all these great people. And like, he's got like he uses cannabis like as intentional medicine now. And it's quite incredible what it is. So we're talking about this. And I'm like, you know, then I'm thinking about the observer effect. Like it's obvious this guy, Dr. Aman, like hates weed. So what's going to happen at his clinics? Like we know that particle wavelengths change depending if you're looking at them or not looking at them. Like literally the waves change. So the whole scientific study and experimentation is going to be influenced by the people conducting the study. That's one. Then I found out that when they do weed studies, the only place you can get the weed is from the University of Mississippi, which has one of the federally licensed to grow it. The weed tends to be 3 years old. It has multiple forms of mold all over it, and it's grown in a sludge of pesticides. So you're not testing like, you know, really good organic indoor or outdoor cannabis grown with intention and caring of the highest quality. You're testing fucking moldy ass shit that's 3 years old, grown in a toxic sludge. Like, no wonder it seems to. And then you hate weed anyhow. So no wonder you're getting these results.
Sure.
Like, what do you?
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. I mean, it also comes down to use. How are you using it?
Yeah.
How much you're using it. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to say that smoking all day is ultimately going to be good for your brain. You start having memory issues, but
yeah, and
sometimes for a good night's sleep, or you know, to kind of look inward and do some self-reflection or whatever that is, like it can be powerful.
Yeah. Also, just having teenage kids, like, you know, having the kids share a joint versus, you know, share a case of beer, like, I'll take the joint any day of the week. Like, they're going to get home safer, behave better, not get in fights, you know, sit in the corner, laugh, and come home and, like, make a pizza at, you know, at midnight. Yeah.
I mean, I can attest to it. I mean, I was a heavy drinker in my 20s, and now I look at it and, like, I can give or take a drink. I don't have any like attachment to it, but it definitely took me a couple of years to kind of recover my brain from the damage that was caused. And that was from mostly weekend drinking and moving up to 3 or 4 when I went through a divorce. But yeah, this alcohol, unfortunately, it's just horrible for me.
It's horrible.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
I'll say with Dr. Amen, the people that are going to his clinic, they're going because they think they've got brain damage.
Yeah. Or their parents think that their children have brain damage.
Yeah, so like the majority of the people there, like they're most likely have some kind of like mental issue going on, but like the people that are fine with weed, they're not going there.
Yeah.
Like that's not the people that are going to go, oh, I'm pretty productive. I'm okay with my life. I like smoking weed. Why would I go get a brain scan?
Right.
It's like that's also the people he's going to see.
Yeah. Yeah, well, true. That skews the balance. I digressed a little bit. I took over. I apologize. We were talking about hormones.
The side conversations are usually the best ones,
Right?
But yeah, we were going to chat a little bit.
Oh yeah, progesterone, women's health, and women's hormones, because the black label got taken off.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to let you go because I know you have a few things you want to say about it.
Yeah, because I've talked to so many women about hormones at this point, and there's still a lot of fear around hormones, especially for older women. Like, I mean, the biggest one is that they think it's going to cause them to become masculine, which, unless you have a really shitty doctor who's giving you the hormones, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, or you're going too heavy on the T.
Yeah.
I mean, women can go pretty high up on the testosterone. I mean, everyone's different, but some of them, they're asking for more a lot of the time, and they're not having those issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because a majority of it are the only experience that most people have with hormone replacement for women is they see bodybuilder women who they push it. Like that's,
they're juiced to the gills. Like some of those women are probably riding close to 1,000 testosterone, right? Or maybe even more.
They're probably doing a little Anavar and some other little fun.
Yeah, they can probably grow a beard thicker than I can. So that's a lot of what people see is like the bodybuilders. Like they know that they're on testosterone. They know that they're doing these things and they have that masculinization. Whereas if you work with a good practitioner on hormones, if anything, you'll probably feel more feminine. because you feel more like yourself. You have more drive, you have more energy. And testosterone converts into estrogen. So if you have a proper amount of testosterone, you'll also have a proper amount of estrogen.
Testosterone is the leading hormone for men and women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people know that.
Right.
When you look at the difference of the numbers, it just never makes sense, really. But it's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the fear that a lot of women have with it, and like telling them like, oh, they're in their 50s, they're in menopause or perimenopause, and they're experiencing all these issues. And I'm like, honestly, at this point, unfortunately, nature has kind of given up on you, which is cruel to say, but like humans were never really meant to like live super long lifespans. And women, the reason they go through menopause is nature's like, all right, you're done being productive. You're not going to have any more children. So you kind of like, it destroys their hormones. But when people are at their healthiest is when they are at their peak fertility, essentially. So when they no longer fertile and their hormones start to plummet, they're not going to be at their healthiest. But now we have those interventions where they probably won't be fertile anymore, but you can get your hormones back up to where they were when you were 20 or 30 and healthy. You're going to feel great. Yeah. You're going to get better sleep. You're going to have more energy. You're going to have more drive. You're just going to feel more like who you were. Because all the women I talk to is like, I wish I was like when I was younger. I don't have the same drive, or I've got brain fog. And honestly, correcting your hormones fixes all that. It's almost like a new lease on life for a lot of these women.
And when women start hormones, do they need to then stay on them forever? Or where is that?
If it's at that age, like 50s, yes, that's probably going to be the cause, because like nature's kind of shut down those paths.
Yeah.
Going on it is not going to bring them back to life. So yeah, for those women at those ages, yeah, they're going to have to be on it. I mean, same for men at like, if they go on it in their 50s or 60s, like, yeah, it's kind of shut down. Like if you come off of it, you're not going to produce as much just due to your age. But I mean, we have these interventions now. You can feel amazing for a long time if you get ahead of it.
Yeah.
The hardest is for women that have been in menopause for like 10 plus years and going on HRT, because our body's been without hormones for so long. If they start on HRT, they may not have the best response. So you always want to start super low dose and just slowly titrate up like over months, because their body's like, I don't know what this testosterone is anymore. Because they've been at zero for like 10 years.
That's good advice. That's very good advice. What percentage of your current practice breaks down women versus men these days?
I think we have more women than men. Originally, it was almost like I almost had primarily women. And I'm still, I mean, it's funny because I have background in working more with men, because I actually helped run a hormone clinic for a number of years. It's starting to kind of stabilize, but we're getting, I mean, it's
like 70-30.
Yeah, probably about 70-30, though, funny enough.
Interesting.
But I mean, women have always gone to the doctors more than men have.
Yeah.
I don't go to doctors anymore either.
I haven't been to a doctor myself in a while.
Yeah. Oh, quite a while. I mean, like surgeons, or, if you orthopedic surgeon and things like that. But
yeah, if I break a bone, I'm going to a doctor.
Right. Otherwise, I'm going to you guys.
Yeah. I mean, like when I hurt my knee, I could have gone to like a surgeon to do that, but I actually injected my knee with peptides and exosomes, and I'm at 6 months now, and I'm starting to run again. So,
oh wow, you did exosomes. Okay, explain to us what exosomes are.
So it's actually sent from the stem cell. It's sort of like sending the email. So if you get that, I mean, there's a ton of different options on the market. You have to really do your research to find one that you can trust, but it's usually going to be exosomes, which are like extracellular vesicles, but it's also going to have some different peptides and types of collagen. But when it goes into the cell, it's sending that message. So it's going to tell the body to regenerate, to heal, and to recover.
Oh, wow. So with very reduced cartilage in my knees, that would be a good...
My hope is yes. I've seen really good results with it. And, I don't like to inject it into the ligament, because that ligament, it's dense. There's not much blood flow. It can actually cause some trauma. Definitely don't do, like a fat-based stem cell in there, because that's going to cause tons of inflammation. But with an exosome, putting it around that area, I have seen a lot of success with that. And I also like something called pentosan, because it actually helps with lubricating the joints. And it actually has some potential for regenerating cartilage.
Wow. Really good enough.
It's also a scenario where, like we mostly do testosterone, but occasionally, like for older men, like a little bit of nandrolone, if you're familiar with that, DECA, a little bit of Deca can actually help lubricate the joints as well.
Decadurabalin or something, is that what it's called?
Well, yeah, exactly.
That's what you used to call back in my football days.
Yeah, that's it.
That was one
Obviously,
of the
you're not
ones.
using.
I never took steroids in college.
You're not using
but
like bodybuilding doses where they're doing like hundreds of milligrams. You do the lowest possible dose, and you're gonna do that multiple times throughout the week.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'd be interested in talking to you about that. I'd love to get my knees back a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, the coolest thing with everything we're doing is that the more we dive into this, the more we learn, the more we realize nothing can't be changed about the human body. We are plastic. Like the things we can do for anything, it's pretty remarkable. Like even things you didn't know were possible are possible now. And new technology comes out every year. So I'm super excited for the future.
Yeah.
Like even just talking about your cartilage, I know that there's some experimental trials right now for a polymer that can go in, that can literally input into like the spots between your knees for more cartilage. And then they'll inject the exosomes or other stem cells and it'll essentially give you back the cartilage.
Wow.
It's like they used to say like you can't fix bone on bone, but like now they can literally create the scaffolding, put it in there and give you a regenerative medicine and you get it back.
Wow.
So there's some really cool things out there.
Yeah. Very, very interesting. Cool. All right, guys. That was a great conversation. Just give us the 411. Where's the clinic located? How to get in touch with you? All the kind of that basic stuff.
So clinic's mostly online. You can go to wayolw.com. That's probably the easiest way to get that.
Okay.
And you can hop on a discovery call. You'll be speaking with Drake. My administrator, Renee, will be reaching out to make sure that you know what's going on, where you're going with it. And then, like, every single person's different. So we've come up with a lot of different ways to work with us. A lot of times it's ongoing treatment. We'll suggest the membership, but then obviously we have some patients where they need a package. And so we'll come up with a package for them. And we just kind of get them going.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Try to keep it simple.
Great. All right. Well, thanks so much for coming in. It was a great talk, and we'll probably do this again every couple of months.
I would love to, and we really appreciate the opportunity for us to be on this with you.
Oh, that's great. Cool. All right, fellas.
I love it.
Thanks so much. Okay, see you a bit later. Thank you.
Thank you.